Welcome into the Bearcat Den. I'm Tommy Warhurst with Cullman head football coach Trent Walker. Coach, welcome back into the Bearcat Den.
The Bearcat Den, the CHS library, school's in session.
Hard to believe. The last time we talked, we were ending June workouts, heading into July, and you talked about after the 4th of July, time ticks fast, and the season is here, and here we are back in school.
Here we are in school. Jamboree is a week and a half away, so it's been fast, but it's been a lot of fun.
Talk a little bit about practice through the month of July.
Yeah, we some good things I think I expressed in our interview last time. We had a good attendance. Our energy was up, and it continued. I'd say the middle of July, we kind of hit our team chemistry, the spot where you feel like, okay, this is really gelling together. And our coaches expressed it was one of the best Julys that they think they've had, and some of them in their careers, and just the way the team, again, we planned the work, and they were working the plan beyond expectations, and just we're keeping them up there. We moved to July, we keep them up there an extra hour just for the extra work we need to get ready for preseason, and you wouldn't know it. By the end of practice, they still had energy. Helps when you're feeding them, give them a lot of good food after practice and stuff like that. But it just feels right. So we keep talking about we're stacking days, both in July and now into preseason, and just had a really good, energetic finish just to summer. But now the preseason starts, and it's a little bit different animal.
Yeah, you talked about some of the parts of the team starting to gel, starting to come together. Talk about some of those areas, maybe some different position groups that are starting to stand out.
One thing we talk about the sound of practice, right? The sound of a football practice has a certain feel when it's being ran well. Before the ball is snapped, there's a ton of communication that needs to go on. In the secondary, those guys have really started communicating. Linebacker, D-line, the whole defense. I mean, everybody's talking. It's not jibber jabber. It's effective, direct communication that gets everybody lined up and ready to go. Offensively, offensive line's making a ton of communication. Line of scrimmage, we put a lot on our center. Wyatt Tilking, he's getting people the protection called right and things like that. And our quarterback's taking command in the huddle and pre-snap. So we're just seeing so much. It sounds like a football practice. There's a lot of talking and the ball is snapped. There's a lot of hitting that goes on after that. But the pre-snap part is what you really realize. You got guys that are getting confident in their playbooks, they're confident in their assignment, and they're knowing how to navigate the gray. There's these black and white things we always present to them as coaches in the install phase, but they have to navigate the gray in between the snaps. And so you're seeing guys do that together.
Any particular position groups you want to talk about to highlight?
We've got our defensive line, our front in general, but our defensive line, and being a head coach, you see pros and cons, right? Yeah. So when one group's doing well, you want to brag on that group, but you're also equally as worried about why they're having success. But our front seven, specifically our defensive line, our defensive ends, and our nose guard are giving the offensive line a lot to work on this camp. We base have an odd front, and we have some very active guys that can make getting in gaps and sliding across face really hard. So our offensive line's had to really work as a unit to handle some of those pass-offs. And so the defensive line is showing up in the backfield more than Coach Boatwright, our offensive line coach, and Coach Hackworth, our offensive coordinator, want. But we know, if you can play against this active front, you're going to be prepared for the region. And so we have on our offensive side of the ball, our tight ends, our H-back, our Ys, the guys that are big guys that can block but also catch the ball. Morgan Hawley is leading that group, and we've also got Brooks Lofton out. And those guys are defensively, when you think about the game plan, you got a 6'3", 235-pound guy, and you got a 6'6", 235-pound guy that can both block really well and slip past you if you think it's a run and catch not only a big pass play but go score. That's a tough thing in the defensive matchup, and how you handle those guys. And so, and then we've put Brooks Lofton out at single receiver, and he's catching screens. You'd be a cornerback who's 135 pounds, want to tackle at 230. You get up 100 pounds. That's a different type of tackle. So just their mobility in our offense right now, the way the coaches are using them, that position group's really stood out. They're allowing an offensive line who's still kind of coming together. Young quarterbacks that either want to play varsity experience significantly. So having those type guys have a kind of a consistent camp's been good for us.
All the hard work and the sweat and the banging around from when you got here in February to now hits the field the 15th, next Friday night. Talk a little bit about the Jamboree game.
We're going to be headed to Winston County. We're going to play 2 quarters at 5:30 against Winston County, the host site, and then we'll be off for 2 quarters, and we'll play Cordova for 2 quarters. Both those teams are offenses that we don't expect to see in our region. So that's hard on our defensive coaches to kind of continue getting our defense ready, but then have to make some adjustments for who we specifically play that night. But we're more focused on the standard of play. That's what the quality of play, the standard of how we approach. Yes, it may be a different offense, but nothing changes in the ball snap. We want defensive linemen getting off the ball, linebackers shedding blocks, and DBs rallying up to run or defend the pass, especially offenses like that run a lot. the DB's discipline will be challenged to be, run, and that's a big pass play. And so we're going to be disciplined in the back end. But our camp, we really emphasize contact. That's really important to me. I think you can act like you're a good golfer, you know what I mean? But if you don't actually hit a golf ball, you can't prove you're a good golfer. And so the idea is we have to, talking to our team, educate them as we, off season was hit the weights. The weights are what are developing toughness. Summer is not physical, but it's a commitment. That's the toughness that you're displaying, is your commitment, knowing you have to put the work in the summer to ultimately be ready for the fall. Now the display of toughness, if you will, is the actual physical part of the game, which that's what makes football different than so many other sports. And as a coach, you're always finding that line of preparing my team and beating up my team. But I do believe that, you have, especially a young team, you got to find out, it's kind of cliche football, who will hit, and there's a truth there. Who will hit, who wants to hit, who will block, who wants to make blocks. You can't really find that out until you start doing what we've done. And so the guys' commitment to our plan, like we've tackled more in 2 weeks probably than they have in 2 years, and it's just my philosophy that we have to prepare the guys to be ready for those situations and those moments come Friday night. And then we'll start obviously tapering that off. We do have to recover and take care of their bodies, but camp is called camp for a reason. It's a grind. It's not 2 days anymore.
Yeah,
like it was in the day. But it for them and the relative to where they are, it's been a solid chunk of preseason work, and it's always neat to be with them before the school starts. Everybody's kind of getting their last vacations, and then you're here with your team. Your coaches are here. You hear everybody talking about getting one last trip in. And no, there's no trip. It was football all last week, and then now your students, your classmates come back to campus, and you've been working hard as a team. And even in the lunchroom, you can see like the young freshmen, like they're comfortable because they see some upperclassmen that they know. There's the first day of lunchroom, I was just watching them. Each other were nervous, but because they've had a group of guys of 78 guys that have been working all summer, they felt very settled into that transition because they had some people they could go to and talk to and sit by. So it's just neat to see your team coming together. School starting, then there's more people. The faculty's here talking about football. It's just everything's leading up to an exciting fall, and we hope to put a product on the field that our school and our community can be very proud of.
You touched on the togetherness, the oneness there. For folks who had never played football, probably for one, the biggest sport. There are a lot of other sports where you've got teams, I understand that. But in football, there is a bigger sense of brotherhood and family, and not letting the guy down that's next to you. Talk a little bit about that and how that is coming together, how important that is.
Every time I give these football speeches, I'm like, hey, I played 3 sports in high school. I played football, basketball, baseball. So I'm not just speaking from a silo, but I do think the greatest team sport in that other people can't have success without you doing your job. Like without the offensive line, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback, running back, receivers are. Like it just literally takes everybody, every snap, doing their job. And so that, plus just, again, it's not a normal sport, right? It's a gladiator sport in the sense of these guys have to hit, they have to be physical, they have to do things that are not common to everyday life outside of the white lines. It creates kind of a common bond we call it shared suffering, and we don't mean that in a bad way. We mean like when you go through this physical game together, you come out bleeding together, literally, and metaphorically. It creates a different bond, just a deeper when you've gone through the grind, the grit, the tough. I relate it to elite special forces type units who spend so much time in training together. They become like brothers. They spend so much time together in really tough situations that you can't help but become close. And so I think that's what football does, is it strips every person down. Doesn't matter what color you are, what kind of background you come from. Like, I need you on this tackle, like you need me on this tackle. I need you to catch that ball that I threw. Like, it just takes so much togetherness to put anything in place. It's worthwhile. So the commitment has been a buy-in by our coaches and players have been tremendous. I couldn't have asked. People ask how's it going. I continue to say it couldn't go any better. We're still going to be youthful some spots, but man, I'm so proud already. This team's going to be the team I'm standing in front of on a Friday night to welcome it all over Woodard.
Yep. Not to look too far ahead, but after the Jamboree on the 15th, we open up the regular season here at home at Oliver Woodard Stadium against Bob Jones.
We want to play well in the Jamboree. I think it sets a tone for how you're going to play, but it's still a mulligan. There's no HSA is not tracking the score. They're not tracking the first game that will be recorded in history. Will be this season, Team 108. It'll be Bob Jones game, so that'll be the first time we get to an official game. Look forward to hosting a great home crowd. It's always neat that time before college games kind of kick off. We hope to have a great home crowd and surprise Bob Jones at who we're becoming. And we'll worry about the process as we go. But I'm excited to give my best. Now, again, no matter what happens, I know already that I'm going to be proud of the guys when they come off the field. We'll have things to fix, you know what I mean, no matter what happens. But I'm going to be proud to put them out there. And that's really clicked in the last month that I'm proud to put these young men out there and know what they've already given Cullman football and Cullman High School.
August 22nd, the home opener here at Oliver Woodard Stadium. The 15th, the week before, we'll be at Winston County for a jamboree game there, too. Also want to remind you, the Bearcat Den, Coach Walker's live coaches show from Pasquale's Pizza will be back this season. It'll be on Thursday nights from 5 to 5:30 at Pasquale's Pizza, open for you to come join us for dinner and to hear Coach talk about the previous week's game and what's coming up. For Coach Walker, I'm Tommy Warhurst. Thanks for coming into the Bearcat Den here. We'll see you in Winston County next Friday night.
Go Bearcats.